plays. They are memorized calls that work their way through into keeping us with the tempo, trying to put the defense maybe back on their heels a little bit, simplify some fronts, things of that nature. And these are the numbers from them. 2018, we averaged 8.6 yards a call in the run game with 11 touchdowns. In the pass game, we were at 79% for 540 and 7 touchdowns with 11.3 per reception. And then our total calls, we had 205 fire calls that year for just under 1,800 yards at 8.7 yards per call and 22 touchdowns. The bar that we set, if you're at 7.0 yards per call, that would be the goal. So obviously we're a little bit ahead of the game, in that sense at 8.7. In 2019, things changed a little bit. We were a little bit higher in our run game out of the fire system at 9.9 and 22 yards. We were at 80% in the pass game, at just under 800 yards at 14.3 per catch. And then our total 249 calls, at 10.3 yards per call. So we were quite a bit higher than we were in 2018, and we had 29 touchdowns. So, it's a system. Each year we change what the fire calls are. We originally have 10. And, we've gone from one year we did everything with motion. One year we did everything just without motion and just a 2x2. And then last year we changed things where we had multiple 3x1 and 2x2s with motion, without motion. And, it was very simple for our kids to comprehend and to learn. And it definitely helps, us and our attack with putting things, ahead for us in the run game and in the pass game as well. All right. So how do we build the product? Each year we decide on 10 plays that's going to go ahead and fit our personnel. Obviously if you play Chandler, you're going to have to defend inside zone. You're going to have to defend outside zone. You're going to have to defend split zone. We've got play pass worked into there as well. And we're going to toss the ball. So we're going to do basic things that we think, fit our personnel and fit our kids. We decided the foundation to be static or motion. We originally did it. Our first year, we did a lot of motion out of it. The next year, we kind of changed that a little bit. Got into a situation where we wanted to really go fast, and we thought that we could go faster without the motion and just being static. So we decide that each year of whether we want to put and introduce it with motion or with static. Even though whichever way you go, let's say you start off in static, then you can always go ahead and add motion to your calls. We decided the formations are 2x2, 3x1, or a combination of both. I know the first year we did this, it was all 2x2 and all the fire calls. Then we went to 3x1. And then the last couple of years, we've gone a combination of both of how the kids go ahead and learn and interpret what we're trying to accomplish. We decide which pass plays and pass schemes complement the fire calls. Obviously, in the drop back game, we just have one name tags that have an entire scheme to them, so it makes it very simple. And then we'll have a play pass and RPO schemes that will be built into the fire attack as well. In spring football, which unfortunately we don't have this year, or at least it doesn't seem we're going to, we will introduce our plays, our offense with verbiage tags and verbiage calls. And then from there, we'll go ahead and introduce the fire calls. And I've got on there, cut the cord. From the day one, we separate ourselves from our kids on the field. When we have team sessions, when we have 7-on sessions, the coaches are on the side coaching, not behind them. We're not in a huddle. We're not showing cards. We're cutting the cord so that they're going to go out and survive on their own. That's why we film things, that we can go ahead and make the adjustments, watching the video before we go out the next day in practice. So it may be a little rough at first. If you have an experienced team, it won't be, but if you have newer kids, it will be. but we go ahead and bite the bullet on that because, you know, I want to know what they can do by themselves out, you know, out in the field and in the course of that time during practice. We'll introduce our fire calls in mid-spring, which means that, you know, that first week and a half, we'll verbiage every call. Some will be a little bit longer. That's the other thing about the fire calls. If you got, you know, 6 name calls, you know, you can just come and this is fire 2, you know, and then it takes all the verbiage out of that. But we introduce it with verbiage. We tried it one year without, and it didn't go too well. Meaning that we tried to introduce the calls as fire calls, no verbiage, no nothing, and it didn't work. It didn't work too well. Once we get into that mid-spring session or the mid-practice, whenever we get back to practice, we will have a session of tempo, 6 plays in a row. I'll show a little highlight on video of that later here in the session, but that is, there is no down and distance. We are setting up, we are moving, we have somebody spot the ball and follow the ball, get lined up on defense, you know, alignment and assignment, and obviously on offense, let's go. And let's have tempo, and we're up there, rear end's pretty good. We're all over them, and we film that as well with our drone that's able to follow the session as well. We'll go 6 plays, whether you score, whether you don't score, doesn't matter. We'll stop, we'll reload, come on back, and have another drive of 6 plays as well. Usually in a session like that, we'll have the first unit will go 6, the second unit will go 6, and the first unit will come back and go another 6 plays and give us the function of how we're setting the tempo. That's high octane, that's getting the kids out and getting them going. Develop fire calls, the pass scheme of summer pass tournaments. You know, needless to say, that's probably not happening this year, but when we are in competition in the summer, we make all of our fire calls in our passing game the same thing. They're learning it, and we go fast in 7-on-7. We're not going to take time. We're going to go ahead and move as quickly as we can, so the kids always have that notion of what we're looking for there. All right, why fire calls? Opponent scout prep. It's hard to replicate. You know, I know you can go ahead and have your 2 scout teams, and one guy's run one play and they run it again, and so on and so forth. But it's very difficult, even with you know, replicating ourselves with, you know, if we've got an opponent that runs tempo, that's even hard to do, and we're a tempo team. So it definitely is a difficult thing in regards to prepping for us on the scout side of things. It allows us to have up-tempo and competitive practices. I got 2 hours here. That's the longest our practice will ever last. If you want, in my opinion, a high octane practice, that is also part of their conditioning. We're not going to run gassers or lines or anything else after practice. We're going to do that during practice. And generally, in the course of the regular season, our practice will go maybe an hour and 40, hour and 45 minutes. In spring ball, we'll go 2. Usually with the 2 hours, we probably have about a 10-minute or 15-minute session in there for special teams. Simplifies our opponent's defensive front and secondary. You know, some people may think that going fast is the key. I don't think that is. The key is that you can execute at a tempo. And we work hard at practicing that and making sure that, you know, we have that in front of us. And again, it will simplify the front and the secondary you see, you know, on film, you know, that good defensive teams are going to have their own fire calls on defense, so they're ready for you. You know, you got to be ready for that. So that's what I like practicing against ourselves, because we do that on our defensive side of the ball. Conditions our team. We talked about that. You know, in the course of our games, in the course of our season, the last you know, 4, 5, 6 years, our teams continue to grow as the season goes along, and as games go along, we get better, you know, as we get deeper into the contest, because we're in condition. Allows our athletes to play in space. You know, that's what we're trying to do. You know, whether it's RPOs, running the ball, throwing the ball, we're trying to outmaneuver a defense and get our people into space. Gets us back on track in times of struggle. You know, we all have these ideas of what we want to do in ball games. You know, we script, start things off and get us going, but there are times where things aren't just going well. So we will go back to our base fire attack if that happens. And we've been pretty successful at getting back on track. Those plays are simple to our kids. We can play fast. We can play physical. And I got some film on that of a couple schemes that got us, or a couple drives that got us back on track with that. Built-in 2-minute offense. It's definitely that. We really don't practice quote unquote 2-minute offense during the week. We will in a walkthrough day to make sure we know, getting up on the ball if we have to spike and get out of bounds. And we've been pretty successful with that last year and the last couple of years, whether it's, the end of the half or the end of the game, of moving in a 2-minute offense form. But it's already built in, and your kids are already used to it. Quick and slide calls. These are part of the fire attack. A quick call is a formation of the boundary. A slide call is a formation of the field. These calls change every week. So one week we've got one play that's quick and slide. The next week we got something else, and that's all conducive to what's going on of our opponent. They're very simple. They're generally probably mostly RPOs, sometimes run game, but sometimes a lot of times run and pass. You got to know when to call them. We install those things on Mondays. We work in air with them on Tuesday and Wednesday, and then we'll go ahead and follow up on a Thursday walkthrough practice with those as well. We never build the quick and slide calls into a script. Those are calls that years ago I was at an Oregon State game when my son was at Oregon State, and I just noticed when they had a big play or a big first down, they went into a mandated, memorized call that they were putting that defense in space. And in particular with their receiving core, if they didn't want to cover them, they're going to throw them the ball. If they do, then we go ahead and we got numbers for the run game. So we picked up on that back in 2017, and we've really kind of taken off from that. A few years back, we ran quick and slide calls as 2 plays in a row. We've done it, like I said, with just the run game, but we're going to have something with the formation of the boundary, something with the formation of the field. Boy, you really go quick. It's a great pace, and they've been really successful for us. Besides quick and slide, I don't have it on here. We have speed calls, which again are a memorized call, and then we have a blaze calls, which are also memorized calls as the season goes along. So we have a bunch of things. It's just they're one little quick signals to the kids on the field, and they line up and they run the play. And it's worked out really well for us. I've got examples of those as well. The quick game, these are the numbers, that we had last year, 7.0 rushing with 2 touchdowns. The pass game, we were 100%, 11 for 142. And all of our 26 quick calls in 218, we averaged 9.5. Again, much higher than that 7.0 bar that we originally set. That's our goal there. That should be 2019 slide game. Oh, I'm sorry, 2018 slide game. 10.3 in rush, 3 for 3. Didn't throw that much out of that. 11 calls at 10.3 per call. And I think I got 219. Yeah, here's the 2019 up on top with the quick game. So you just get the idea that we've had a lot of success with that, and they're high percentage. You do have to have a smart quarterback, man, and he's a guy that's got to be groomed to take control of that, because my quarterback is in control of all those things, because he's making decisions, whether he's handing the ball off or whether he's throwing the ball as well. So let's see here. All right, so let me get on out of this here. Come on down here. I'm going to give you an example here of one of our fire calls, okay, which would be an outside zone scheme. So this is from 219. We're calling this fire 5. We're going to go ahead and run outside zone. We're going to have this receiver up on top. He can either going to have whatever week it depends on. He could have a hitch, he could have an out, we can have a slant, we can have a bunch of different things. And if the quarterback likes that, then he can go ahead and attack him. This man lined up right here. That's going to go ahead and take that. So he's going to go ahead and hand the ball off. We're in a 3-by-1 with a 1-by-1 dart man. We go ahead and hand the ball off, and we get our 8 yards on a 2nd and 10 call. Hang on a second. Let me get. I don't want to end on this. Come back here. Now we're going to go ahead and motion into that fire 5 call, into that outside zone read. Bring this man from this spot, motion him across into that dart spot, have outside zone to the field. We've got this receiver down at the bottom single side running an out. You know, if Mikey likes that, he can go ahead and take that. You got to know down and distance. You got to know where you are in the field. You know, at the 5-yard line, he's most likely going to go ahead and hand the ball off, which he does. Once we come across here, if the quarterback, if things are, you know, cloudy to him and murky to him, you know, the rule of thumb is hand the ball off, you know, and all things should be, you know, pretty equal. Hand the ball off here. We're going to way back up here and get us a nice, you know, first down coming out of the black zone there. Now we're putting the same thing, but we're putting it into the boundary. Okay, a little bit different idea. Sometimes people adjust, sometimes people don't adjust. In this case, Brophy's not adjusting. We've got nice numbers over here on this side. And again, these are calls that are coming in fast. Okay, and calls that you can tell they're secondary here. You know, they're kind of getting there. They're talking. Safety's looking around, not sure what's going on. Oh yeah, we got, you know, 3-by-1 into the boundary now. So kind of putting them back on their heels a little bit. And now we've got outside zone over here. If, let's say, for whatever reason, this man was back and they were overloaded here, this guy's one-on-one, he's probably coming to the outback over here on the wide side of the field. Work on up in, get ourselves up, get ourselves a nice gain and moving the chains. Got one more here. Now we're in doubles. We're going to go ahead and motion into that same formation as if we were static in, right? So we can go ahead and change that up. And now we're going to go ahead and make this move as well. I can tell you right now, if this defender was up in the line of scrimmage or back over here and not hanging out here, he'd probably throw the quick out over here down at the bottom. Comes here, hands the ball off, working ourselves around, and working ourselves on through. Now, I just want to let you know that those highlights were against quality opponents too. You know, you got South Point here, you've got Queen Creek, and you've got Brophy. Those are all very good football teams and well-coached teams. So just want to make that point that, you know, the clips are against quality opponents. So that's an example of what our outside zone fire scheme would be. And, you know, we'll see where we're going to go with that this year, if we're going to change that, if we're going to change the formations. But that's what we've done. That's what we did last year. Let's pop. Let's go here. Let's go to a quick call. Quick call, again, memorized call that changes each week. You know, now we've got kids running out. You got a guy coming in from the sideline, kind of back on their heels. We're in a 3-by-1 to the boundary, but now we've got a tight end attached over here, so it's a little bit different. You know, we have our wide out to the field doing what he's going to do. Let's see, I think he's got a slant coming on over there. You could tell if that defender right here is up or is out of the picture, that big hole, the quarterback has the ability to go ahead and throw the ball there. Since this guy's back out, the defender's here, he's not going to do that. He's going to hand the ball off, and we're going to work our way up into the boundary running the football. Got quick called here again. Now we're with a nub tight end to this side. We got 3-by-1. If he likes the numbers, go ahead and throw the football. I'd have no problem with block if he goes ahead and throws a screen here. Doesn't like it because he sees, you know, you could tell, you know, Perry here, they're a little bit late lining up. We're going at a good pace, you could tell. And now we like the numbers over here in the run game. Okay, like those numbers over there, and we're going to go ahead and hand the ball off and work ourselves up into a nice gain in the run game off of a quick call. Working back here again into the boundary, or into the boundary has our three wideouts doing some type of scheme. Now we've got a little bit of a passing going on there with all these guys walked off over here. Mikey don't like that, so he's going to go ahead and hand the ball off. We're liking what we see, even though these guys are deep. We don't care about that. We like the numbers that we have in our outside zone with our run game. So this is an RPO scheme. Work ourselves up in there and get ourselves a nice game there. Come back here. Same thing. We're a little bastard formation here with this man's not on the ball now. He's off the ball. We've got these receivers here. They're both lined up back on these guys here, even though this man is ineligible. Okay. Got a little screen action going on there. He's not going to like that, and he's going to go ahead and hand the ball off here. Now we're working off of a split zone look here with that nub tight end off the ball. So again, just a little variation, but all those calls to us are quick. Those were 3 or 4 different games, and they're all 3 or 4 different different plays. Come here, quick call against Coach Cam's defense over at Saguaro. Coming up here, lining up here a little bit later, coming back here, and now working our way on through, running a little RPO look over here, and like some numbers back over here, and works our way, and we get a 7-yard gain on first and 10. Okay, so that gives you an idea of what we would call our quick attack, which puts the 3 receivers into the boundary. Come back over here. Let's go with our slide. Our slide memorized calls, again, are also calls that change each week. Okay, they are memorized, usually 1st and 10 plays that we're going to go ahead and call after we've made something happen on maybe a big play or first down. So here we've got nub tight end, 3 wideouts of the field. So the slide, we're always going to put the receivers to the field with the single guy being into the boundary. In this case, it's the tight end over here. If our quarterback likes the numbers, throw the ball. If he doesn't, go ahead and hand off. Right here, I have no problem if Jake wants to throw the ball out here. We're good. He's off. We don't care about him. He's one-on-one with the receiver. Get the ball out to him. Jake didn't like it for whatever reason. Hands the ball off, and now we're running a counter gap scheme back to the field and working back on inside. And we're not looking, we're not bringing DeCarlos here from the field side where he's looking at these guys. That's a pre-snap read of what he wants to do out back over here. So running counter gap, working back around, getting back on through. We get a nice little 12-yard gain. Come on back here. Same thing. Same look, same call, same scheme, same play, same defense. Now he says, oh, I do like that out there. It clicks in his mind. And now he's going to go ahead and throw that out there to that wide out. Got 2 good blockers out here. Engaged here. And now he's should be one-on-one with that man back deep. And we get a nice 11-yard gain. Coming here, nub. Now we got not just bunch, or we call chaps or anything. We got 3 wideouts. Running a little scheme back over to that side as well. Like the numbers in the pass game or in the run game, back to the sideline. This man here being the last of the run defenders, and working our way on through. And again, these are all calls that we're up on the ball right now. There is no formation calls. There is no play call. It's a memorized call, and we've got some good things going on there. I think this last one here with come on now. I don't know why it's taking a little bit long. Let me hang in here for a couple minutes, see if this thing comes on up. This is another slide call. I know this was an RPO call. Here we go. So you can tell our friends down the road, Coaches Ian Hamilton, they did a great job last year. You can tell this is a couple of years ago, we got them, you can tell the chains are just barely getting set up. And, just to make note, the rules changed last year with, once the ball's down, you got 40 seconds. So this is a couple of years ago. So, you can't start the clock or start the ball until the referee set up the chain. So things have changed for us that benefits us more in 2019 than 2018. Chains just got set up. Slide call. You can tell right now there's a big gap out here to the field. And Jake's going to go ahead and take advantage of that and make that throw and get that ball in there right there. So quick call. Again, people to the boundary as far as the receivers. Slide call, receivers to the field. Running a scheme of whatever we want to do that game planning for that particular team. And we go ahead and change those every week. And to our kids, those plays are very simple plays. Let's see here. Where am I at, Jim? I'll tell you after we're doing okay. All right, so let's move off of that. You go here. Let's go to our 2x2 tempo. So this will give you an idea. This tempo is going to have fire calls in it. It's going to have quick and slide calls in it. So we're just going to see how a drive goes ahead and works with these as well. And as I said, that I don't know about you guys, but we script. I've got about a script by 2x2, a script for 3x1, a script for both of them, maybe a script for 20 personnel. And we go through that, but none of these calls do we script. Okay, these are all calls that we know when we want to call something that after someone's made a nice play or gotten us downfield, and we want to go a little bit quicker. So this is an actual drive. State championship game last year. Start off little motion call here. Working ourselves on through, get a nice little 18-yard gain. Now we're going to come up on the next play, come up quick. Swore does a pretty good job of getting lined up. We're in a tight stack formation. I don't know what you guys feel about stack, but I know our defensive people hate defending stack. Offensively, it creates, there's only so many ways you can run it, a couple different things you can do out of it. And, we incorporate that quite a bit into our attack. So get lined up, little drop back pass. Cam and his guys do a nice job of going ahead and defending that. Come right on back, come into a fire call. Fire call being our one of our 10 plays will be something out of the fly sweep, which we do here. And the ball off here, we get the edge. Now we got space, got a nice gain, coming up, working on down. Now we come on back, right back to a quick call. Quick call, a little bit lined up, coming there a little bit late. Coming on back here, we got a little scheme going, RPO scheme going to the boundary. Mikey doesn't like it, goes ahead and hands off, and we work back on up, and we get a 4-yard gain. So now we're 2nd and 6. Come on back, another fire call. Working ourselves with the play action pass. You can tell, Jacoby comes over here a little bit late since we got lined up quickly. And as he comes over late, he's going to get, trip coming across here, which allows Keon to go ahead and get open. So just having the speed of our call and getting up on the ball puts, the defense a little bit back on their heels. And we end up being fortunate enough to go ahead and get the edge and complete and work on through and get ourselves in the end zone. This is another drive. This is from 2018, opening drive versus Perry in the state championship game, coming out in a 2x2. Going to work a little outside zone here. Perry kids do a nice job of getting on to Carlos on that, working on through. Come back over. You can tell we're going quick, memorized call. You can tell the Perry defense is a well-coached defense. They're a little bit back on their heels here, getting lined up a little bit late. We're ready to go and come back out. Now we give them a little bit of motion. Come back and boom, hit that right in there. Get ourselves upfield. You can tell right now, after Puff makes this play, you can tell how quick he's getting back up. Get the ball back in, and let's go. Let's get ourselves going back up. You can tell our kids are getting back over to the ball, of keeping our tempo and keeping our pace. Coming back here, this is a quick call now. This game, we got these guys, the boundary out wide with the nub back over here. You can tell the secondary here with Perry is, backed on up. So we're looking at this, and we definitely like the numbers and a lot of space out here to the wide side of the field. So we're going to go ahead and hand the ball off. He does have the ability to go ahead and throw this little screen back out here as well. Working on through, get ourselves a 14-yard gain, come right back on up, come to a stack, making their secondary move around quite a bit. We're looking at that going, oh, okay, we like this, playing soft, got an umbrella over here. I'm just talking from an offensive perspective. And, we're going to go ahead and run a fire call off of this. There's a fire call with a split zone, and I could tell you, again, Jake's got the ability to go ahead and throw this out here if he wants to, which he has every right to because of how far off the defenders are playing right here. Doesn't do it though. Works on through here, get ourselves a nice gain. Come on back. Same thing, stay in stack. We see this back out over here as well, with everybody playing a little bit softer there. Run our split zone again, get a gain of 5. Come on back. Same thing, we're seeing up on top of how they're defending that. We like this, and now he's playing soft, even down on the 8-yard line. So he's going to go ahead and toss the ball out here to our screen. Get a good block by Jay up on at the bottom of the screen with the tight end spot. Working on down to the 1, almost gets in, and now we come down on a 1st and goal from the 1. Go to your call card. What are you doing inside the 5-yard line? Run your play that you got in your call card and put the ball in the end zone. So that gives you 2 different ideas of how we would start off games. The Saguaro game was the 2nd drive of that game. The Perry game was the 1st drive of that game. So it kind of gives us a rhythm and gets us focused and gets us going on certain plays and certain games. The back on track. I'm going to skip over the spring. The back on track is really good in this sense. And this is taken from a game this past year with versus Brophy. Didn't like how things were going in the first half. I don't know, the play call. I didn't like what we were doing. That falls on my lap. So we went back at halftime, told the kids we're just going to go to our static fire game, come out, go fast, and do the things that we do. So here we go. So first play coming out after the 2nd half, get ourselves a nice little, we'll get 3 yards on that. Come back to one of our base pass schemes. Come in here. Kids know that like it's on the back of their hand. Get ourselves a nice 20-yard completion. Work our way on through. Come back on here now. We're going to a fire call, staying with the fire call. You can see these guys over here, what are the chains, they're running a little late. And you can tell that we've got that defense back on their hands a little bit, working their way back on through. They're not quite sure where to line up, going fast. Definitely, Mikey can definitely throw this screen out here, which I would like him to. That's something we would discuss when we came back on the sideline in between drives. Goes ahead and hands ball off, works our way up, gets us a nice 8-yard gain on first and 10. Coming back 2nd and 2, come back with a fire call. A fire call into the boundary, work our way on through. Same thing, lining up a little bit late here on defense, playing soft to the boundary. We definitely like going to have our little outback over here. They're all over there. We don't need that. We like our numbers to the boundary, so we should be good. working our way on through and getting ourselves into the end zone. So we end up going down like a 4 or 5 play drive, coming off of out of halftime, which was important for us, and we go down and score. So that's, again, getting back on track. This is the second drive of the second half. Same idea, same philosophy, fire calls, quick calls, slide calls. So we start off here. One of our fire calls, they bust a coverage. Boom, we'll go ahead and hit that for a 26-yard gain. Come on up, another memorized call we call speed. You know, it's a bastard formation. We got all kinds of things going on. We got inside zone, we got a screen going, and you can tell same thing. It's not, they're not quite sure how to line up to that. As I said, it's a bastard formation. And we go ahead and throw the screen back out over here, work on up. So by the second play, we've got 13 yards. So we've got two nice hits right off the bat. Come here with the slide call. Again, you can tell, you know, the chains aren't set up, so we're going at a really good pace, getting ourselves ready to go. RPO here, hands the ball off, working his way on up for a 6-yard gain. You know, looking on back, you know, he would have been okay if he would have come back here, you know, work this as well. Coming back on through with a fire call. It's our static fire game. Get only 2 yards, but that's okay. Now we're 3rd and 2. Go to our call card, you know, make a call that we like on 3rd and 2, working ourselves on up, getting 5 yards and working on into a first down. Come back to another fire call, memorized call. Again, tossing the ball. When we toss the ball, we change that up weekly as well. So that's, again, like it's almost like a quick and a slide call. Those are memorized. They know the formation, they know the play. Go ahead and run it. You can tell these guys on Brophy, they're kind of unsure back here in the secondary. We come on out, get inside, turns into almost like a little power toss, get ourselves another 9 yards. Coming back up with a 2nd and 1. We'll just go ahead and run our outside zone. Comes back in for another 6 yards. So we got a nice rhythm going, which is what we want. Go ahead and have a penalty, which is not what we want. And then come on back, working our way into another fire call that gets us 6 yards down to the 1. Come back with another fire call, same formation, get ourselves down only a 1-yard gain, and then come on back and hang it into the end zone. So those were the first 2 drives that we came out of our game against Brophy, who, you know, very good football team, well coached, well structured on defense, and we wanted to get off the dime and get us back into a rhythm, and we succeeded at that with those two drives in that second half. Let's see here. I'm going to come back over here. I should have probably put this back earlier. This is spring football, and this is how we introduce to the kids. Like I said, I should have put this up earlier, but this is our first day of running a tempo session in spring football last year. You know, that we can go ahead and get something you know, accomplished here. So again, everything's going to be high octane. We're going to just follow the ball like a regular game, move ourselves like we get into a game. Coming back, you could tell, let's go back, you could tell everybody after this play, linemen and everybody are moving to the line of scrimmage. Here they go, everybody's going. Defense, offense, everybody's moving. We're on both sides of the ball. Coming on back with, again, a fire call. We've already seen this in regular games. Coming back over here, working back on through. Nice little gain. Everybody's moving again, coming on back in. Getting set, defense. A little bit late here. This is great for the defense, man, so that they get practice against, you know, tempo teams and teams that are also going to be diversified like us. We're a tempo offense, but we're also a multi-formational offense. We're not just giving you just doubles and trips. It's going to be different formations out of that. Come back, a little pass scheme here. Good job by the D. Comes on up. Going to go ahead and spot the ball right there. Everybody again moving, getting set. Good, better by the defense. Working back on through. I think Mikey might have gotten blown up here by Malik. He's got that outside zone going. He does like our little quick out over here, so you got to get rid of the ball. Get on up again, trying to get guys in space, right? There's our getting up in space, getting on upfield. Again, everybody moving to the ball, coming back over again, working a little pass scheme here. Good, gets down to the 2. Again, you can tell the lineman, everybody's moving. Everybody's moving. Get on up. Of course, we're prodding them along with that too, is where it's very vocal to get up on the ball and now come back in the 2-yard line or 1-yard line and go ahead and make a play and put the ball in the end zone. So that's how we introduce it with our kids in the springtime and work ourselves up and work ourselves through there. Let's see here. I'll show you something before we have, I know Jim wanted me about 10 minutes of if there's any questions. I'm going to go back down here and show you a 3x1 tempo. See, so this would be from last year. So now we've got everybody spread out. We don't really have anything with the, at least here starting off with the tight end. We're going to start off here with the regular call, outside zone to the field, come in here and bodies on bodies. We like what we see, as far as the edge to get outside. Like that running back to have the ball in the other hand, make that notable to him. Work ourselves on up. Now we've gone ahead, gone to the 3x1 to the field, coming back to the short side. Working our way on through, get on up, good. Come on back here through. Now we've gone into the red zone, so now we've got a fire call, okay? Little bastard formation with this fire call here. We should be running, I think, we run a split zone. Split zone with an outlet to go ahead and throw the ball, which nobody goes with our tight end here. And there it goes and gets the ball outside. Working on through. You can tell we're up fast. Perry's trying to communicate and get back. We're up quick, and we're working our way on through. Come back with outside zone. Do a nice job. We only get a yard gain on that. Now we come back. Defense calls a timeout because of our tempo and getting on down there as we're doing, and come on back here with the fire call. This is how we run fire with the toss this game, and pitch the ball back on outside and work our way back on through. So these type of things aren't magical wands, that put you to put you in control. But this is an entire attack that it's the way we call ball games, and adding that to the script. Fire calls obviously are in the script. The quick slide calls are not in the script. It all works together, and it's an offense in itself. And I can tell you this is, as far as just take the outside zone call that I showed you. We have the formation. If we just say fire 5, this is the formation, this is the way we run it. But if we want to run fire 5 out of other formations, all we do is flash in a signal with that formation. We want wing fire 5. We want doubles fire 5. We want trips fire 5. Whatever it is, we can go ahead and be multi-formational with those calls as well. So that just expands your playbook into a lot of plays. That the kids ultimately, understand, and the most important guys understand it are the people up front. With their communication. Our quarterback does communicate to the offensive line. My offensive line does not look to the signal to get the play. They get the play from the quarterback, and the quarterback is in complete control with what's going on in the course of that game on offense. And of course, we all need. Y'all can't do these things without a guy at the trigger that has his act together. Running this attack. So Coach, I don't know how you work questions or anything. If you want to go with that, we can do that now.
All right, Coach. Good stuff. Thank you. I can tell you firsthand, Coach is talking about the tempo. It's hard to, he mentioned it's hard to replicate. You know, it is. You can watch all the film you want and you could try to, you know, defend it with your own guys during practice during the week, but for a team that has it down, you know, it's difficult. So good stuff. Appreciate it, Coach. So I'm gonna unmute everybody. Let's unmute everybody. If be careful if you got some noise in the background. But anybody have any questions? Anybody have any questions?
Okay. So whichever way you want to run it, if you're going to run it this way, he's not going to read.
Somebody's watching another session, or wait a minute. Should be unmuted all.
Now let's look at another video. Now this is all.
This is really lagging. I don't know why it's doing this. Hey, Niles, I'm not sure why the unmute all button's not unmuting.
It's working. Some people can mute themselves once you do it. So the people that don't have questions can mute themselves.
Okay, gotcha. All right. Any questions? Any questions out there?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
When you start out with your fire and slide calls, is that you start off with a base formation as your install, or do you just run through different formations while you're?
No, we'll install it with a particular formation. Okay, like that outside zone scheme, we introduced that in what we call rifle, which is the 1-by-1 to the field, the two guys outside of him, and the single receiver to the boundary. That's how we introduced it. And then so if we just call, you know, fire 5, that's the play. If we want to go ahead and run that out of wing, or we want to go ahead and motion with that, then we'll go ahead and add that as we go along. But the introduction side of it is just whatever you think you want. The first year we did fire calls, it was all 2-by-2. And then the next year it was all 2-by-2 with motion. And then next year it was all, we changed things up. We had this call in a 3-by-1, this call in a 2-by-2. So we've kind of messed around with it each year. And the same thing this year, you know, the fire calls will be different, you know, but it's going to be your base attack, whatever that is. And in our case, you know, outside zone, inside zone, split zone, toss, those are the nuts and bolts of our attack. And, you know, a lot of the stuff has a read for the quarterback that if a play is there for him to throw the ball, that he can also throw the ball and he's got to know down and distance on that as well, right? Can't be you got to know when to do it and when not to.
Thanks, Coach.
And don't get me wrong, I got really good players. So does Coach Cam. Okay, we got really good players, and good players make you a good coach. Also, they make things look. I mean, I got a bunch of high octane guys, you know, that want to perform, and you know, but the key there is the quarterback, okay? Because a lot of stuff is riding on him with, you know, because most of those slide and quick calls are all RPOs. So he has the ability to throw on every one of them, you know, and that's, I always tell the quarterbacks, be selfish, you know, but if it's cloudy, just go ahead and hand that sucker off.
All right. All right. Anybody else? We got anything? Hey, well, good job, Coach. I appreciate you. You know, a lot of good stuff there. it's something that obviously I think a lot of offenses could, put a portion of this into their their season or into their practice plans, and really no matter what offense you're running, right? I mean, doesn't really
Absolutely.
matter.
You adapt it to, what you do and whatever
Right.
your foundation is, right? So, I mean, we look at it as the fire attack is the foundation of the Chandler offense, and again, that's why it's a great get back on track, offense, just through those fire calls, because we got other stuff that aren't fire calls, and they're plays sometimes with 5 and 6 words that are attached to them. And that also helps out with the verbiage side of things when you have lengthy calls that can be, whether it's hand signals or a wristband signal, can be a little more complicated, that it takes the verbiage out of those things as well. But when we learned our lesson a few years back, we tried to introduce fire calls as the offense, and it didn't go very well. So we went back to the roots that, verbalize everything first for a week and a half, because when we have spring practices, we go 2 days in a row with the same scripts, with the same calls, with offense and defense, same everything, right? So it's all repetitive. And then by the time you get through about 6, 7 practices, then we can go and say, oh, such and such and such, that's fire one. Oh, okay. And to our kids, that's the base foundation. It's very simple for them. You're not having any mental bus on, oh, I forgot that was that play. It doesn't work like that.
Good stuff. I appreciate you, Coach. Thanks for
All right, man.
thanks for jumping on this morning.
Absolutely.
We'll talk soon. And guys, if you want to hang tight, we'll take a quick break here real quick, and then Coach Ravelis from University of Laverne will jump on and take over a little bit. All right, so we'll just take a couple minutes here and get our technical side set up over here, and then we're good to go. All right, thank you.
Hey, Jim, I'm going to stop recording until Coach